Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. You don't ever punish someone you really want to punish for doing something wrong, because that's actually a bit of a relief to them. That's encouragement. That's such a great thing. You're going to be around your children a lot, and so you might want to have it so that they don't misbehave at exactly the wrong moment, because all hell can break loose. And if you think, oh, I'm not a monster, oh, yes, you are. You're just an unbelievably unconscious monster. You're a successful parent if, when your child is 4, all sorts of other children want to play with him or her. If you want one marker of whether or not you've been successful, that's it. Do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. As a clinical psychologist, I can tell you that. The idea that parents can't dislike their children is, God, how naive can you get? If you think that, man, I don't even know where you'd start to straighten yourself out. I could never dislike my children. Those are the people who produce the most monstrous children. You don't ever punish someone you really want to punish for doing something wrong, because that's actually a bit of a relief to them. That's the theme of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. The murderer gets away with it, and it's a relief to him when he gets caught. So, no, if you really want to punish someone, you wait till they do something good, and then you punish them. Because that'll teach them. You maximize the hurt that way. You decrease the probability that they'll ever do anything good again. And I'll tell you, man, if you want to have a good relationship with someone, that's one thing you don't do. You open your bloody eyes, and if they do something that you would like them to do again, then you tell them how much you appreciated the fact that happened, and you hope that it replicates. That's an extraordinarily useful thing to know. Watch, and when people do something that they should do more of, say, look, I saw that you did this specific thing. I saw that it took some effort. Here's what it meant. Here's how I observed it. Keep that up. And man, if you love someone, you do that to them. That's encouragement. That's such a great thing. So anyways, back to children. So I already knew that I was a pretty decent monster by the time I had kids, and I thought, my kids little, like a baby or 2-year-olds, like I'm a horrible monster. I better not let that child do anything that really makes me angry. And then you hear about something horrible that happens. When I was in Boston years ago, I read about a woman who plunged her 2-year-old daughter's arms into boiling water. You think, how in the world can that happen? She's probably hungover. She probably just lost her job. She was probably desperate in 6 different ways. She probably didn't have any decent disciplinary strategies for children. She probably didn't have anyone helping her. She was bitter and resentful and angry, and the child misbehaved at exactly the wrong moment. And you're going to be around your children a lot, and so you might want to have it so that they don't misbehave at exactly the wrong moment, because all hell can break loose if they can, and I didn't want that to happen. And I knew that it was easy for people to hate their children, even though they mouth the words that they love them all the time. I saw very little evidence of that in many situations. You have a natural affinity for children, and maybe a more powerful natural affinity for your own children, so that's a good start. But you need to know what sort of monster you are if you're going to be a good parent. And if you think, oh, I'm not a monster, oh, yes, you are. You're just an unbelievably unconscious monster. Your fundamental job as a parent, especially of a child from 0 to 4, is to make that child eminently desirable socially. So you're a successful parent if, when your child is 4, all sorts of other children want to play with him or her. If you want one marker of whether or not you've been successful, that's it. Now, some children are a lot harder to get along with than others, and some children have a harder time playing. And so I'm not saying that every parent who has a child that isn't popular at 4 is at fault for that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the reverse, which is you can be sure that you've been successful if your child is not popular. And the thing is, if you're good to your kid in the real way, you can help them maintain that tremendous attractiveness that they have as young children, and to respond to adults properly, like a puppy that wags its tail instead of growls and goes for your ankle. And then wherever they go, adults welcome them and teach them things and pat them on the head and smile at them genuinely. There's nothing that you can do to someone that's more terrible than to put them in a world where all the goodwill directed towards them is false. That's a terrible thing.